Hello guys, you only know what I'm going to be doing, but obviously I'm going to pause it so I can take this off first. There we go, but I have to go back to doctor tomorrow, I have to go back to school Monday, so I'm not really not happy. I am happy about that, and I have to take this off, so I'm not happy because it seems. Let's get started in reading. And chapter 9. My mum said, because her phone came on, that she'll only be 5 minutes, but we all know how that is. She said that she'll be 5 minutes, but it turned into an hour and then 2 hours and then. And she'll want to do my hair later. But I don't want to. Okay, let's start reading. Not reading, reading. 1, 2, 3. His response was in doubt, his hands holding her face gently, his lips touching hers with the softest of kisses, his mouth moving slowly, his tongue licked her bottom lip ever so slightly, and she opened to him as his tongue touched hers. The taste of him exploded through her, and she flushed with embarrassment at that moment escaped her thought. A sweet, spicy smell of him invaded her senses, on her face, the feel of him against her mouth. It was too much at once. She wanted to separate each tension, each word, each moment, and appreciate it all slowly. But there was no happening of that. Eventually, he pulled back slightly to look at her. His mouth. Oh God. He eventually pulled back slightly to look at her. Smart. I've been wanting to do that ever since you opened the door to me in the first night. She smiled. Me too. He moved to the sofa, taking her with him. He sat down in the corner of the sofa and pulled her on his chest, wrapping his arms around her shoulder. Do you want to talk about what went on tonight? He asked softly. She nodded. Told him about Chris and his friends and the baby. And Martin. It feels like I'm getting cold again. Not interrupting, not taking his eyes off it. It was a carry to Elise to talk about it with someone after so long keeping it locked up inside. While she talked, he wrapped a blanket around her, wanting to keep her from the inside and from the inside with his kind gesture. When she had finished, she rested her head on his chest and closed her eyes, suddenly feeling like she had won a marathon. She wasn't sure what the future held for her and Henry. But it didn't seem to matter right now, lying in his arms. He shifted slightly beneath her, and she found her hand gripping his shirt before she quickly released him. She opened her eyes to look at him, and he smiled at her. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. She smiled and let herself drift off to sleep a little bit because it is late. So I'm really not looking forward to it, and I have to go back to dance, and I don't really like the dance teacher, but I get to see what I got on my exams. So that's good. And guys, it's only 17:38. It's not even 18. So really than last night. Let's continue. Hammy woke the next morning to find he was stretched out on the sofa, Penny lying completely on top of him. Her face buried in his neck, her soft breath on his skin was one of the most wonderful feelings he's ever had. He couldn't stop thinking about that kiss, how it felt, how she tasted. He wanted so much more. Guilt suddenly slammed on him for the first time in his life. Daisy hadn't been at the forefront of his mind. She had specifically asked him not to do anything with Penny, and although he hadn't promised anything, he had decided to respect her wishes and not to take any further. That hadn't even entered his head the night before when Penny had kissed him, and certainly kissed her back. Crap. For one thing Daisy asked him not to do, and he got ahead and done it anyway. He really didn't want to do anything that might upset or hurt Daisy, but he was already in way over his head here. He really likes Penny, and maybe just to see how things went over the next few days, maybe nothing would happen. between them at all. And there would be no point in bringing it up with Daisy. Maybe the kiss would be the last of it, but if he had known only Penny for a few days and he had already kissed her and spent the night with her, he seemed in a far more gentleman fashion than any other woman he had spent the night with. Things were not only good for something casual. He eyed the clock above the fire and he knew he had to get her, even though he would have quite liked to stay there all day. He was supposed to go to work for a few hours today, so as much as him and he could get used to some of the tools and equipment, meet his line manager and some of the people on the scene. He shifted, trying to get up without waking her, but her eyes shut open. "Hi," he said, resisting the urge to smooth her hair from her face. "Hi. I need to go. I have to pop to work today and I don't want Daisy to wake up and find him not there." "Of course you don't." She sat up and shifted him off and he stood up, leaving her sitting on the sofa looking sleepy and adorable. "She'll probably try to hang around with you, but just tell her to shut off if she gets on your nerves." "I'm happy to have her around. She's lovely. You know, I'm not really sure how to say goodbye. Thank you for being there last night and staying with me and for the..." She held off, touching her lips. She was remembering the kiss and wonderful memories slammed into his mind too. He smiled and gave her a wave before walking out. God, that kiss was as a lamb. He wanted nothing more than to go back and do it again. He made it halfway across the kitchen before his control snapped. He turned and strode back to her, so immediately taking her face into his arms and kissing her hard. She stared a little before her hand slipped around his neck, running her fingers over the fine hairs at the back of his head and kissing it back. She smiled against his lips before she spoke. "To go." He nodded, kissing her briefly. "I'll see you tonight." He walked out, suddenly feeling a hell lot better about his day. He let himself through the connecting door and came face to face with Daisy as she came down the stairs. Guilt burned through his gut. Why had he not thought about Daisy when he curled up on the sofa and decided to spend the night with his wonderful neighbour? His eyes widened as she took in the same clothes he was wearing the night before. "Did you spend the night with her?" He closed the door behind He closed the door behind him. "Yes, but not like that." She was upset. "I was just comforting her. I fell asleep on her sofa, but I promise, no clothes were removed. I just stayed with her, that's all." That and two incredible kisses. We didn't want to tell Daisy about that yet. He had to figure out how he felt about Penny before he told his daughter. She wouldn't be happy. He knew that. "I need a shower and then I'm going to work for a few hours. Will you be okay around here for a bit?" Just checking how many pages. That left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. To chapter 10. Let's continue. Daisy nodded. "I'll see if Henry will mind me watching her." Eyes came in again. "Or maybe I can watch Benjamin with her. Well, don't have asked her. I'm sure she's very busy with all the craving jobs she needs to do. I don't think she has a competition tonight." "I won't be in the way." He smiled. "I'm sure you won't." He ran up the stairs. He never wanted her to feel in the way again. A little. Pause. Let's read again. Penny stared at the flowers. There were bouquets of every colour, flower, size, and arrangement covering her table. She sipped up her tea and wondered if it would be safe to go into town later, or whether she would have to be lifting on people's shoulders and pending through the streets. Maybe it would be easier to stay up here out the way. She heard the collector door open up here with the blues to see a pair of big soft feet, which she guessed belonged to Daisy. Whoa! Did someone die? Daisy asked. These are from Sam and Alex's parents. Grandparents and aunts, uncles, neighbours, and anyone else in the town that heard about last night's little adventure. It doesn't help that Pinning the bars, the mom, is the manager of Whitecliff Bay. There's a certain amount of glory that comes from saving them as kids. In that case, you surely should get to the Victoria Cross or some other kind of meal. Penny laughed. I have been better than that. There's 5 cakes in the fridge and 4 bottles of wine. Would you like a slice of cake? Oh, yes. If there's going to spare. Daisy sat opposite Penny and cleared space so she could see her through the flowers. Penny stood up to get cake. Did they come round then? Sam and Alex's parents? Yes, I just got back from walking Benny, and they were waiting for me. There was a steady stream of visitors ever since. What did they say? We saw who I presume was the boys. Dad running out the cafe when it all kicked off. What kind of parents would leave the kids playing outside on the street while they go and have a cup of tea in the cafe? Alex couldn't have been older than 8 or 9, and Sam looked about 5. It's neglectful. Penny put the chocolate cake on a plate and cut 2 slices. Picky is Penny, and she nearly passed out while they were watching the fire breather. Mike rushed into the cafe and told the boys to stay where they were for a second. He was only gone for 2 minutes. They shouldn't have been left at all. Penny smiled at the outrage of someone who'd never been the responsibility of looking after a child 24 hours a day. You can't watch them every second of the day, and even when you do watch them, accidents still happen. Mike apparently asked Jade to watch them for a few minutes while he took care of Piggy. What? That's even worse than leaving them on their own. Well, yes, he was the nearest person there at the time. So did Jade just wander off and leave them? Mike doesn't know. There was no sign of her at all when he came back. We are both apoplectic and thankful. I don't think we should judge them too harshly. Penny passed Daisy her cake and sat down to eat her own. Daisy took a big bite and moaned with pleasure. Well, if they bring cakes like this round, I guess not. Dad loves chocolate cake, so if you want to find a way to his heart, the fine plea with lots of this. Penny scooped a bit of chocolate cake icing from the plate. There was something not looking at Daisy. She got the sense that Daisy didn't want her to date Henry, though she wasn't sure why. I know, he stayed last night. Nothing happened. Penny said awkwardly, apart from the best kiss she'd ever had. I was just a little upset. What about? Penny smiled at her brother's confidence. The pub is owned by my ex-boyfriend's parents. It's just brought back memories. Do you want to carry on with your snowflake? Daisy didn't notice the subject change, and her eyes lit up at the prospect of caving again. I have a competition tonight. You're welcome to come with me if you want to. You can meet other cravers too. I like to say they are friendly bunch, but some of them are very weird. But it should be fun. Some have very different techniques to me, and I can talk you through some of them when we see them. I'd love that. I'm sure Dad won't mind. Brilliant. Oh, and Josh will be there too. Daisy's face lit into glow. He's lovely. We chatted a little bit while we were waiting. He's lovely. We chatted a little bit while we were waiting for you yesterday. Does he work for you? He's my assistant, and mainstream muscles. Ice sculptures are very heavy and you need 2 people to lift them and move them. He comes up every 2 or 3 times a week to help the ice with blocks of the machines and help me transport all my sculptures to events. I put an advert in the local paper for a big strong man and he applied. I got the piss taken out of me for a few months afterwards. He's very quiet and sweet. He's only 17. I'm sure you'll get on with him. It would certainly be nice to make some friends around here, Daisy said. I'm assuming Clinton has that Penny didn't like. Well, let's get changing, then we can carve for a bit before tonight's competition. Henry was definitely not going to thank her for setting his daughter up with a tattooed, muscular 17-year-old. Nothing was ever simple. Let's go back. Henry stood up the fight on the warehouse floor of Whitecliff Bay Furniture Company. He looked around at the other workers and at the natural light flooding through the windows that sent ribbons of gold over the dark wood. He was going to enjoy working here. He was set up to get work with his hands every day, nurturing and peacefully beautiful pieces of handmade furniture. He was going to learn new processes and skills too, and that was something he was keen on to do. Whitecliff Bay Furniture Company was one of the biggest names in the world for handsman pieces, and he was going to be a part of it. He had met several members of the team and would be working with after Christmas when he started properly. They all seemed happy, cheerful people, singing and chatting and laughing while they worked. He knew he was going to love working with them. He was waiting for Daniel, his line manager, to come back with some papers for him to sign. When he heard that the cliff across the house as women who worked on the factory floor were stood in boots, he turned to look at the foreign sound. It was the steady red hair he saw first, carefully in long curls, down to one side, in a black torso suit, and sky-head red heels. She looked like a force to be reckoned with. She was beautiful, and there was no denying that, but there was a cold arrogance that marred her features. She didn't look at any more as she passed, almost as they weren't good enough to be looked at. She was walking straight through him. Clara, Sandra, CAL. She offered out her hand, clearly hoping he would be impressed with the title. He wasn't. He had already met who he considered to be the CEO, Edward, who had stopped to talk to almost every peep of the factory floor. Shook his hand anyway, noting her eyes were cold as ice, a direct contrast to her frilly hair. Let me Travis, I'm starting work here after Christmas. This news clearly surprised her. She obviously had no idea about new staff. Was Edward had recognized him from the interviews and made a point of coming and chatting with him for a few good half an hour when he saw him earlier. Oh, that's a pleasant of good news. It's nice to have a bit of eye candy to look at every day at work. Henry found from letting his jaw drop. Surely, if it had been Edward chatting to a female employee like that, she could have been slapped for sexual harassment suit on him faster than he could blink. But Henry would be nice to her. He had to. He couldn't do anything to his job here before he even started. He forced a smile on his face. I think you'll be very happy here. I can let you settle in if you like. We can go out for dinner one night and we can talk about Whitecliff Bay Furniture, the expectations we have for you. Well, I think Edwin and Daniel, my line management, have already explained that clearly. I know how important the reputation of this company, and I'm delightful to be offered a place here based on my skills and experience. He hoped that would be the end of it. We're a family business here. I do like to know the people who work for our family. Dinner would let us know each other else better. Well, I was just about to join Daniel for lunch in the staff canteen. You're welcome to join us. I heard cheese and pickle sandwiches are to die for. She nodded her eyes a bit deliberately at Scrooge. Just then Daniel came back. He looked at Claire in confusion. Obviously it wasn't normal for her to be talking to competitors. Oh, hello, dancing. Daniel asked, "Are you lost?" Henry clicked his lips together to stop the laugh bursting from his mouth. Claire forced her eyes from Henry to look at Daniel. "What do you mean, lad? You don't normally see you down here. I thought you might be taken around too," Daniel said innocently. "Henry, here's your papers. Are you coming to lunch?" "Yes, of course. Claire, are you joining us?" Daniel gave a burnt mouth which he turned into a coughing fit. She glanced at Daniel before turning her attention back to Henry. "Perhaps another time." She turned and strode away. The way she had come, her burnt head at the speech was deafening. "Bloody hell, Henry, the last person we want to get involved with is Clara," Daniel said when she had gone. "I tried to stay out of her way from now, if I was you." Henry sighed. The perfect job was coming with a red-headed downside. Wait. Let's go. Penny stepped back to look at her finished sled. She had to drop it off a party tonight before she went on to competition. She left the boarding site with a tremble of presents coming out the back. The intricate blows of the presents had taken quite a long time to get right, but she was proud of the finished result. She glanced over at Daisy, who had been working silently and deliberately for the last hour. Taking her time with her piece, Penny had showed her a few skills to work on that they were practicing using for the sculpture, and as she had picked up all of it very quickly, Penny had pretty much left her to it. She moved around to look at the snowflake. Now it was largely finished and let her mouth dry in awe. Daisy had already asked Penny to cut the block vertically in half so that the snowflake was a lot thinner. Even though Penny had warned Daisy that this would make the oven a lot harder because the thin bits could be broken off, but Daisy had done a wonderful job. All the tiny, delicate fingers the snowflake had been carved into perfection. Each branch rounded so the snowflake looked like it was made from tubes. "Daisy, this is incredible." Daisy looked at her in shock. "Really? Yes, you have real talent for this stuff. I can't believe this is your first time." "I did do that wood carving, of course, in the summer, so that taught me a lot of things." "Yes, but even so, you're still an absolute natural at this stuff. The thing with craving or sculptures is you read the eye or you don't. It's not something that can really be taught. You definitely have the skills to do this professionally." "No, I mean it's okay, but it's not like yours. It's better than mine. I've been doing this for 10 years. Why don't you enter it for a competition tonight?" "Oh God, I couldn't. All the professionals and my happy snowflake." "What have you got to lose?" "My dignity when I came last. I never entered to win. I just entered to be a part of the experience. Come on, I promise it's good enough to be entered." Daisy stared at the snowflake and looked at having a great soul forming in her face. "Okay, Blink, come on, let's get warmed up and change. Josh will be here soon, and I need to put the sculptures ready for moving them." Daisy helped Penny put the cravings back in the freezer and walked out the cool room, bumping straight into Henry as he came up through the door. "Hey, Dad, you looking for me?" Daisy asked. Henry flashed Penny a quick glance that told her he'd actually been looking for her. "Yes, I wondered if you'd hear." Daisy wrapped an arm around his waist and he patted a kiss on his face. Penny loved how tangled they were with each other. "How was work?" Daisy asked. "Interesting," Henry said, giving Daisy another glance. "The people are great. I think I'm going to enjoy working there. I love the furniture they make. It's so stylish. I can't wait to be a part of it." I met Clara too. Penny tried to keep her expression neutral. She'd seen Clara on town a few times and she knew how beautiful she was. She wondered what Henry's impression was of her. "The boss lady?" Daisy asked. "Yes. She came downstairs to speak to me specifically." "Oh, that's nice. Maybe I was wrong about her," Penny said, turning away. She wasn't wrong. Clara had come down the stairs to speak to Henry because he was hot, and that was the only reason. she asked me out for dinner. Penny opened up a can of beans and poured the contents into her, throwing the empty can into the bin harder than it was necessary. What must it be like for Henry to have all these smart, beautiful, rich, successful women throwing themselves at him? He could have any woman he wanted, yet he had kissed her. He had kissed her simply because she had been upset and felt sorry for her. That would be an awful reason to kiss her. Now his boss was asking him out. Surely it would be professionally suicidal to turn her down. As she was beautiful, it wasn't exactly a hardship. Ew, Dad, don't go out with your boss lady. That's such a hitch. I have no intention of going out with her. It would be beyond awkward if things turned out. Besides, she isn't my type. Penny glanced over him, and although he was talking to Daisy, she felt like he was saying all this for her benefit. You mean she didn't? Streak blonde hair, big tights, a tiny waist. Daisy laughed. She grabbed an apple from the fruit bowl and went to take a bit by it before Henry snatched it from her and put it back in the fruit bowl. Daisy pouted. Penny looked at the tiny breast and definitely not the tiny waist. This conversation was getting better and better. I don't just go for bonds. I don't have a type. I'm attracted to personalities, not looks, Henry said. Yeah, right. That's why all your girlfriends have been virgin on the supermodel end of the spectrum. You're not painting me in a good light here. Henry gasped at Daisy and she laughed, completely with the idea threatened his voice. You create your own reputation. There's nothing to do with me. Come on, Trouble. We'll leave Henry to some peace and quiet. She asked me to come with her for a competition in it. It'll be a great experience for me to see the other covers. And then where can I go? Penny waited to Denny's house to tell Henry that she was submitting her own piece to competition, but she didn't. Henry looked over at Penny. Is that okay? Yes, of course. Henry shrugged. All right then, well, let's go and have dinner, and Penny can knock on your door for you when she's ready to go. He unleashed her out of the connecting door and gave Penny a little smile as he closed the door behind them. If that conversation about Claire had been designed to make her feel better, it had gone completely opposite effect. Well, do you want to reach out to her on the next part? I don't like doing it in the part that isn't like I get confused with the chapters, but tomorrow night, if it will let me, I'm going to read 3 chapters. So 2 in 1 video in the morning. I'll try to do that tomorrow night. Because it's Saturday, so every Saturday I'm going to try and read 3 chapters. Because we're already on chapter 10. It's in the next part.